Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening, downloading, and subscribing to the latest edition of the 12 Kyle podcast. I'm 12 Kyle. Check this out. On this podcast, we're going to talk about the 20 traits that women want in a man. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking that I probably talked to a few people and came up with these crazy ideas as to what women are looking for in men. No, we used a national publication. They recently did a survey, and the survey actually broke it down into categories and traits that women want in men. And I've got a special co-host coming through. This week, the homie Keon stops by, and we're going to talk about it. So sit back, relax. We'll drop the theme music, and we'll get the podcast jumping. Let's get it. Welcome back. As I mentioned in the intro, we're going to take a look at something very interesting. I was perusing the internet as I normally am, and I came across this article that I found on this website, and the website was called Men's Health, menshealth.com, and it talked about the 20 traits that women want in a man. Now, since the beginning of time, ever since man has been here, one of the things that, obviously perplexes us as men are the thoughts of, the members of the opposite sex. What do women want? What do they want out of us? And so Men's Health, they polled over 1,000 women between the ages of 21 and 54 in 2 online surveys. Once the results were in, they organized the characteristics based on how they appeared, and the top attributes were kind of broken down, and that's where we'll start. But before we get started, got a special guest in the building, man. My guest on today's podcast, first time on the podcast. I've been following this cat, man. We've been on Twitter, I think, probably for the better part of a year or two now. Young whippersnapper, but a hip hop head, young entrepreneur, man, doing his thing. My man Keon is in the building. Keon, what up, man?
Hey, Kyle, how you doing? Thanks for having me on.
Oh, man, no problem. Hey, first and foremost, man, happy birthday. Thanks for coming through on your birthday, man. Happy birthday.
Appreciate it. It'll be in a few weeks, but I appreciate the birthday wish. I really do. I'll be 28 this year, so I don't feel like I'm getting old at all. I feel like I'm just getting wiser and better. Like I just take it a day at a time. I don't look at it as, oh man, I'm getting old like everybody else thinks. Like, dude, I'm not worried about that. Like, man, I got life to look at it too. I don't worry about when I'm old. Whenever I get old.
Man,
I got plenty in the tank. I'm not complaining about that.
I remember when I was 28, man. It's a good. Yeah, actually, I got married at 28. Wow, that's crazy.
Really?
Yeah, I got married at 28, and yeah, man. And it seemed like everything just kind of took off from there. We had our son. Well, you know what? We had our son, our oldest son, Dion, when I was 27. Got married at 28. Bought a house at 29. Yeah, just like that. Crazy,
Right.
man. Time flies. But we are going to talk about the 20 traits that women want in a man. Now, the first set of traits, and again, these traits are in no particular order. But on this podcast, what we're going to do is we're going to give you the list of traits and give you our thoughts on the traits. And then we'll also tell you about whether or not we think that they're significant in our eyes. And then finally, we'll tell you our thoughts on how it relates to attracting women. So the first 5 traits are what they call character traits. So remember, these are character traits. And again, they're in no particular order. the first trait, faithfulness. Now, according to their survey, more than 8 out of 10 women, actually 84% of the women rated being faithful in their top attributes that they found sexy in a man. So, Keon, what's your thoughts on that, man? What do you think about being faithful and where you think that lies with women?
For me, I was a little surprised to see 8 out of 10 to rate that, actually. Honestly, I expected 10 out of 10.
Me too.
I think, well, that's the thing that it's a little funny about is just that, it's funny because one of my best friends, she was actually made a Facebook post about this other day saying that, how guys be holding stuff in and like taking their frustrations out on past relationships on women. And I texted her, I was like, hey, women does this too, right? I'm like, don't think you're gonna get away with this, dude. Like, everybody does this, not just us guys. So, back to the article. I feel like the faithfulness that women see in men, I feel like the cliche, like, the way that the rules of society, like the unwritten rules of society, where it's like you're committed to one. Mm-hmm. And so if you're committed to one, it makes you like, whole, like you guys were married and whatnot. So with the 80% or 84% of women that's voted for their faithfulness in a man as one of their traits that they look for, I feel like, and now, like in today's society, it's gotten to the point where it's kind of like the hat's out of the bag now, where you know how guys will have some side pieces or whatnot. Now women are starting to have side pieces. Mm-hmm. And it's like, well, I'm faithful to you, but when I'm not getting that itch scratch real quick, I'm going to head over here real quick for a cup of coffee, and I'm going to head back to you,
Right.
So I can say, yes, I was surprised it didn't get no. So for me, me and my girlfriend, I've been dating now. We've been dating for 5 going on 6 years.
Okay.
And, yeah, thank you. And honestly, this is like our first true relationship. However, it was kind of funny because like my mom was like mad, like protective at first. She was like, well, you better be careful because this is your first girlfriend. You better be careful. I'm like, Mom, it's cool. Like, it's me and her, we may disagree, but we may be mad at each other, but at the end of the day, we always make sure that we sit down, talk about it, and whatnot. So that's where like the faithfulness comes in as well, where it's like this segue, dependability,
right?
Where you can depend on that other person to actually pick up the pieces where it left off, or to be like, hey, this is what you're doing. This is how it's affected me. Mm-hmm. I'm depending on you to fix the situation where you're broken, where this part of your personality is broken. Does that make sense?
Oh, it makes total sense. I will agree. I think the study said 8 out of 10. It was actually 84%, but I, like you, thought that would be higher. And I'm just,
I was at least expecting like 95 or higher.
Right. I'll just go off the women that I know. I won't even necessarily deal in hypotheticals. With the women that I know, family, friends, associates, whomever, faithfulness is pretty high because, you want to make sure that, that especially if you're in a committed relationship, and obviously as you get older, that becomes more and more of a priority. You don't want someone who's, especially if you're in a relationship and the woman is faithful to him, but he ain't faithful to her, then could put yourself in situations where you could be vulnerable to, I don't know, pregnancies, diseases, any number of things. So yeah, I was a little surprised, but not surprised that faithfulness ended up on the list. So I think for the fellas that are listening, I think you have to be honest with yourself. If you're going to get into a relationship, you have to be honest and know that, this comes with the territory. If you want that in a relationship, then you have to be, one of the foundations of a relationship is being faithful. So that's one character trait. The other character trait, number 2, you mentioned, dependability. According to their study, 75% are looking for a man who's dependable. What's your thoughts on that?
Still, again, that's a low percentage. It's funny to me.
Right,
it's like,
right.
Like, oh, I can't get you to change my oil. I'm going to get right up the street to change my oil.
Right, I'm going to get
that's what it
Earl
reminds
and
me of. Yeah. The dude that has a cigarette hanging out their mouth and whatnot. Right. Like, you look like your daddy.
Right.
But, yeah, but the dependability part, it's all part of trustworthy at the end of it's sense of trustworthy at the end of the day. It's like you don't have to ask to do this. It's like, oh, I expect him to do this because he knows where to pick up the pieces at, or she knows where to pick up the pieces at. Mm-hmm. So I know I can depend on them if something were to go wrong. Now, with the women looking at the guys to be like a follow through, which I'm just paraphrasing what this one sentence says, it's just one of those things where women's expectations are slowly decreasing with time.
You know what? I think there might be something to that, and as I looked at the numbers on these, I was kind of curious as to, because it doesn't give you the breakdown of the nationalities or of these women, and not to say that one is different from the other, but it just said that they surveyed 1,000 women. I'm surprised, like you, that 75% number. I would think that that'd be a lot higher. For the women that I know, dependability is a major key. I mean, like, you can't. Who wants to be in a relationship where you can't depend on your man? If you can't depend on your man to pick up the dry cleaning, you can't depend on your man to come in your car and pick you up from work.
Then what's the point of being in a relationship if you can't depend on them?
Exactly.
So that's where it's like, why is it 75%?
And I think, like, because I'm slightly older than you.
Yeah.
In the 90s, there was a big movement, or at least so it appeared to be a big movement for, the phrase of independent women. And I don't think, and don't get me wrong, there's absolutely nothing wrong with a woman being independent. Everybody should have some level of independency, even within a relationship. Mm-hmm. That said, I think somehow along the way, men kind of got it misconstrued and looked at the women's independency as she's independent, she doesn't need a man. No, she doesn't need a man, but she wants a man. And there's a difference. And I think sometimes we as men get that, misconstrued. But the dependability, that's a high character trait that a woman wants. They want a guy that they know is going to be there, through thick and thin. And I mean, sunny days, everybody loves them. Can you stand the rain? That's the question. Number 3 on the character traits, kindness. It says young women may fall for the bad boy type, but 67% of women say they are turned on by kindness. Your thoughts?
67.
Yeah, man.
From my past experience, I've been told plenty of times I'm way too nice of a guy. However, there was a point in time where, I'll say this much. To make a long story short, I kind of like I got pissed off to the point that I kind of had to find that mean streak.
Mm-hmm.
So there was times where like a female would say like, "Oh, you're too nice." I'm like, well, maybe you shouldn't be so condescending or whatever, you know? And it's like, I can't believe you said that, but I respect you for calling me out. I'm like, I'm not calling you out. I was being disrespectful, you know?
Yeah, you're trying to be disrespectful.
Yeah. And a lot of times when I hear about girls when bad boys and whatnot, it's just one of those things where it's like women just want excitement. They don't want something to be constant. They want like an up and down like type of relationship, though, which is kind of, for me, it's kind of unorthodox. However, like, it's one of those things where I feel like there could be part of insecurity and confusion on the women's part to think that a bad boy type is their guy. Wow. And that's what it looks like to me. Mm-hmm. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, who's to say that something might have happened that media's not covering, that we may not know? Mm-hmm. I mean, we just don't know. But it's just by taking by face value. Well, excuse me, face value. That's what it looks like to me. Mm-hmm. I mean, look at Angela Simmons, clean cut, comes from a really good family. Then all of a sudden, she's a single mom. What's really going on? You know?
Well, I mean I won't go that far, and the reason being is because I know like stuff happens. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what kind of what kind of person that she. I mean, all I know is just the persona that is portrayed via the media and through social media. So I don't know her personally. One thing I will say, I kind of understand why this number is at 67%, and the reason being is that I think there is, to some degree, some women that I know. Let me preface that. Some women that I know that they want a guy that's kind and nice, just not too nice. You know what I'm saying? Like, and again, that's just the women that I know. They want a guy, and you can be kind and nice, but they want a guy with a little edge to him. Now, I'm not saying that you want a roughneck. What I'm saying is that they want a guy who is not going to treat them bad, but a guy who has a little edge to them. What defines that edge, I don't know. But 67%.
It could be one of those things where you stand your ground.
Yeah,
when it comes to.
Could be.
Yeah, it could be.
Could be. And you know, 67% is, according to them, is turned on by kindness. And you know, so I think there's something to that. But yeah, I wasn't surprised at that number at all. The fourth character trait, moral integrity. Now, 66% of the women believe that you have to have the guts to tell the truth, and you'll have the guts to be good, a caring partner over the long haul. Just don't try to tell her what you think from her best friend in college, and you're good. At least that's what they're saying here. Moral integrity. I mean, a stand-up guy. What's your thoughts on that?
I think that I feel like it's important, but at the same time, it's kind of like with the example that you made, mm-hmm. or the article that I had. It's kind of one of those things where you have to also know your place whenever you're around certain people as well.
Yeah.
So if my girlfriend invites me to one of her coworkers' house or whatever, and they all get off at the restaurant or whatever, and they're all drinking and whatnot, having a good time, and it's all females there. If I'm the only guy, I'm not going to try to be the life of the party or whatever. No, that's my girlfriend's people, man.
Right, you gotta lay back.
Yeah, play the background, be cool, and just, talk when spoken to in a way.
Right.
And it's not me being whipped. It's just me being respectful of me. Actually, it's like her showing me that, hey, these are people that I value. So you value me, they'll respect you. Mm-hmm. You know.
Mm-hmm. I think you hit the nail on the head. Value is a key word. Mm-hmm. I think, a woman should want a man with morals. A man should want to have morals. There's far too many men around here running around without morals.
Definitely.
I think what you're speaking to is something that I think we as men have a tendency to overlook from time to time. Being able to know your place and your role based on the situation. You know, like you said, that situation, the scenario that you named. Yeah, if you're out with your girl and her girlfriends, that's really the time for you to kind of play the back. You don't have to be all out in front. You know, she's with her friends. You're accompanying her because you enjoy her company, obviously. But it ain't your time to necessarily shine. I mean, you be a part of the conversation, never be standoffish. But that speaks to, like they mentioned in the article, there's a time and a place. You have to, if she has a best friend that's doing some foul stuff, you kind of got to know when to say and what to say and how to say it, you know, without
exactly
offending
because
her.
There's always two ways to say something, the
definitely.
right way or wrong way. However, you may be saying the right message, but like I said, there's those two ways you can always say it, the right way and the wrong way.
Exactly.
So there's nothing wrong with constructive criticism. However, I know like when in one of my classes I had to take for wellness coaching, it was one of those things that we learned was that mindfulness is where you have to take yourself out of the situation and kind of pretend like you're not there, and you kind of have to study the person's body language and whatnot. And if there's a bad silence, you know, there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with silence. And it's kind of like if you see something that your significant other is doing wrong, you don't want to air them out in public.
Oh, no question.
You want to stay by them. However, whenever you two are in private, you're like, all right, this is the situation this is how I've seen it, and I feel like you could have done A, B, C, D. They could have done A, B, C, D. I don't feel like this was blown out of proportion. I feel like you're right. You know, stuff like that. Where if you don't embarrass them in front of other people, that which, you know, kind of have some respect for one another, I feel like that moral integrity will also increase too, because the respect will be there.
Oh, no doubt. I agree 100%. And the last character trait under character traits, fatherliness. It says being a good dad is important. 51% of women want this in a partner. You know, being a good dad, being a good role model, setting the example. And for those, you know, guys who are listening, if you're not a father, you know, being a good uncle, if you will, to your favorite niece or nephew, or just being, you know, an employee, or maybe mentoring an employee at work. How important do you think that is, fatherliness?
I feel like that's really important because it shows a side where just like you can laugh and joke with one another, but also whenever the time comes to actually give like quote unquote fatherly advice or sound advice to actually lead someone that's either naive or, you know, clueless or a little bit confused. That's where another respect will show, you know, where like with LeVar Ball, he like you may not like him, but you know what? You better respect him because hey, he believes his son is the greatest player in the whole wide world. Which what son doesn't want their father to believe that in them? That's like one of the greatest feelings in the world, you know. And my father believes me, man, I can do whatever I want. I can conquer the world, you know. So I feel like that's also what women. Actually, I feel like that's one thing. That's one of the hidden secrets that women don't talk to their daughters about. Is that I feel like they do tell them that, look, you're a woman in this world. You're going to have it hard because society is quote unquote ruled by men. And you know what? You're going to have whatever comes around your way. You're going to have to choke the life out of it and take it and own it.
Yeah.
So
go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. So with that, like being a good dad, like role model, yes, very important because it's going to show that you're not about the BS and whatnot. You have your head on straight. You're on a clear path, and it's going to also show that around your significant other's family, you're like, man, he's really good with these kids.
Mm-hmm.
My kids really like him. My kids really look up to him. They always laugh and have a good time when they're around him.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I like him. Girl, you need to keep him.
Right.
And who doesn't want that approval for their family?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Oh, you hit the nail on the head. I think I was a little surprised that it was at 51% of the women that were polled. But I also understand too that not all women want to have children. So I kind of take it with a grain of salt. I'm a father. So we have 4 children, 3 boys and a girl. She's the youngest. And so like we mentioned at the top of the podcast, that you were 28. When I was 28, no, you couldn't. If you'd have told a 28-year-old me that, I was going to have 4 kids, I'd be like, nah, son, I ain't having 4 kids. But, we have 4 kids because we didn't want 5. You know what I'm saying? But seriously, for me, that was something that was very important. My relationship with my father is like, my father's like my best friend, and for me and my brother, and I've talked about this on other podcasts as well. The most important job that I'll ever have, the most rewarding job that I have, is being a father. It's a job that I cannot fail at, and I refuse to fail. And I think I would venture to say that, you would have to ask my wife what she saw did she see any type of fatherly type qualities back in the day when we met in college, but because we didn't have kids then. But I always thought that was important. I think building that bond with your children, and if you don't have children, maybe like I said, your niece or nephew or a close relative, or being a mentor, I think that's very important, not only for the person that you're helping grow, but also for your growth as a man. And I would think that that's a quality that women would find sexy. 51% is kind of low, but this is what they came up with. So, but
to say that they probably could ask a single mother this too. I'm done dating.
Exactly, and it could be based on if you're asking a single mother, maybe her experiences with the men in her life, they didn't have that fatherliness quality, so they didn't rank it as high as you might think. But it still made the list nonetheless. So now let's move on to personality traits. Now we've got 5 personality traits. Again, these are traits that women want in a man. This one here, the first one under personality traits, sense of humor. According to 77% of women, this is very important. What say you?
Slightly low, but kind of accurate in a way. So it's kind of like it's kind of around the ballpark, I believe. Because I feel like some of them like corniness. Some of them, that's a big turn off. They want to also power.
Wait. Did you say horniness or corniness?
I said corny.
Oh, okay.
You thought I said horniness?
I thought you said horniness.
No, I said corny.
Okay, go ahead.
No, I don't think there was no Urkel corny type of dude or whatever.
Right,
some of them may, some of them don't. I feel like with the sense of humor part, it's just you just gotta be comfortable with your skin, dudes. If you can't like take a joke or anything, or if you know that you cannot like clown or anything like that, don't do it. It's not your thing. You don't have that trick in the bag. You just don't. So, sense of humor, I feel like it's a must.
Right.
I feel like it really is, because serious situations, you're gonna have to need someone to actually help you find a reason to smile, because you're down in the dumps, and if your significant other cannot help you like feel there's any sense of hope, I mean, it's basically blind leading blind to me.
Facts. I agree, man. I think I'm a little surprised that this number isn't as higher than what I think it should be. To me, I think sense of humor is very important. I was always told, if you can make a woman laugh, you're in. No matter what, you're in. And I mean, like for me, that's always worked. I mean, I've always kicked it on that steez. Like I can make you laugh because I think I'm funny, right? I'm not, Eddie Murphy, Richard Pryor funny, but I think I can, like Biggie said, once you grin, I'm in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's not even about game or anything. It's just about being able to, for one, laughter brings a level of comfort. And if someone is comfortable with you, they're going to want to be around you. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you ever heard guys, and I'm sure you have, but ever heard guys hate on another guy, let's say me and you were in a mall and we see a guy and he's, not the most attractive of men, and he's got a fine woman with him. And, the first thing a dude will say, like, oh, man, I can't believe that ugly dude got that chick. You know how he got her? Because he made her laugh. Like, I mentioned Biggie. Biggie didn't necessarily describe himself as a heartthrob, right? But
black and ugly as ever.
Exactly.
However.
Exactly. But here's the thing. I found this out, more and more after Biggie died. People around Biggie will tell you like he was a funny ass dude. And I was okay, now it makes sense. But even before he became this huge megastar rapper, he got women because he made them laugh. And so laughter is key, man. I don't know anybody that doesn't like, personally, I feel like we all should get in a good hard laugh each day. That's a good day if you're able to get off a good laugh. And I think for the most part, women want to laugh too. So I was a little surprised that the number wasn't as high. But yeah, fellas, if you can get her to laugh, you're in it. Trust me. Trust me.
Sure. Take it from us.
Exactly.
Take it from us, guys.
I speak from
Make her laugh.
Make her laugh. Speak from personal
If
experience.
you personally cannot make her laugh, take her to a movie that will make her laugh.
Right. So then you'll have something to talk about.
Exactly.
And I've mentioned it before, but like when I first met my wife, even the first day that we met, I was really surprised. Like she was laughing at almost everything I was saying. I was like, even the stuff that wasn't funny, she was laughing at. I was like, was she a giggle box or something? Like, when you deliver a line, when you deliver a line or something. And I wasn't even spitting my funny stuff, and she was laughing. I was like, okay, all right, I was all right, cool. So yeah, fellas, sense of humor is very important. That's a key trait that women want in a man. That's a personality trait that comes in at number 2. Number 3, passion. Now, 46% of women say that they like the display of passion that they're not accustomed to seeing in most men. So only 46%. That, to me, that number seems kind of low. What's your thoughts on passion being a trait that women want to see in men?
It depends, because there could be two ways I'll look at this: passion or obsession.
Okay.
Because I remember my mom. This was a few years after my parents' divorce. My mom was dating this guy, and he was a veteran. However, whenever they were going on dates, he wouldn't talk to my mom for a few days. Like, oh, where were you at? I haven't heard from you in a few days. Oh, I've been at the pool hall. So the thing is, though, is like my mom I remember when I was a teenager, I would come up to Louisville and visit her. She's like, oh my God, I'm so sick and tired of him going to these pool halls or whatever. Where it's like, he may see it as he was passionate about playing pool. My mom saw it as obsession with something else. So it's kind of like my mom saw it as he was married to that game instead of like committed to her. So that's one thing that could be misinterpreted as. Now with passion, being passionate about something means that, yeah, it's a very, I wouldn't say it's very necessary, but it shows that you're very serious about your craft and what you and how you own it. So it's kind of like if someone like at your job were to pick on you, like, "Ha, man, you always doing extra work. You always doing extra work," and you're like, "Dude, this isn't funny. I do this extra work because I enjoy it.
Right.
I get paid on top of it. That's a cherry on top. But you know what? Maybe I enjoy it. What's wrong with me enjoying this?"
Mm-hmm.
So as far as women, I feel like if they see that men are passionate in a specific hobby that they may have, they can see it as if he's this serious and this passionate about this, how is this going to be like whenever we actually commit to each other, and how passionate will he be for me? Even though you get a glimpse of it,
Mm-hmm.
it's still kind of like walking in a dim room, you know, where it's like, all right, he still has this hobby going on that he's really passionate about, but man, is he going to be serious about me like he is with his hobby that he has going on too?
Good point. Good point.
So I feel like passion is also important too, just because it puts that realization thought in women's mind. Because it's kind of like for me, how they always say, visualize it, then if you visualize it first, you can actually make it happen, you know?
Mm-hmm. I think you're onto something there. I think I was a little surprised that number was as low as it was at 46% of the women that were polled. But to your point, you're right. Like in the scenario that you mentioned with your mom and her friend, it kind of depends on what you're passionate about. Maybe something like that in that scenario was turning her off. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like, if you don't have the right, it's almost like not having the right amount of focus or being focused on the wrong thing. So,
yeah.
If you're 38 and you're passionate about rapping and all you want to do is rap and you don't want to work and the rap career just hadn't taken off and your tracks are, getting 100 listens on SoundCloud, you probably want to go to work. You probably want to go to work,
Wait, what I did off the Rocky movie? Throw in the damn towel.
Yeah, throw in the towel, man. I mean, I'll be the last one to tell someone to stop their dreams, but passion that's misguided can be, it might not be to your. It's not going to be to your benefit. I'll just put it like that. So maybe
definitely
that's
toxic.
Exactly. So maybe that's why that number is where it is. But still, that is a character trait that women want in a man: passion. Number 4. This was very impressive to me. Confidence. 41% of women said that that's a trait that they want to see in a man. Confidence. What you think, man? Is that number too low or too high?
See, there's a reason why I haven't commented about the percentages. Because I was going through it again. I'm like, do I really want to say how I feel about this, or do I just want to keep it to myself?
Keep it real.
Yeah, because I'm like, I know, because it's like, there's going to be some women listening to this, and this is my first time on the podcast. Like, yeah, get him off of her. No, we don't want him on here. Boo this man. But the 41%, low, yet again, realistic. I look at the thing as a glass, like, half full, half empty type of situation where it's like, yeah, it's good for a guy to be confident in himself and believe in himself. You want that because it shows women that, man, this guy really believes in himself. He's going to give it his all. He's going to go the distance. However, on the flip side to it, he's really confident in himself. All these girls over here trying to talk to him while I'm around. He should get a little confident over here. I hope he's not too confident that he think he's better off by leaving me.
Right.
So, that's just, I mean, even though it's just shits and giggles, I mean, I'm also being serious at the same time. Like, some women just were like, I don't want him to get too cocky or too into himself, because I may lose him,
Mm-hmm. And you know, that's what I was thinking too when I saw the number initially. I think it may have something to do with the fact that, and we don't know this because we aren't women, but women deal with a lot of confident assholes.
Oh yeah, they do. They'll be the same ones that won't admit it,
right?
But they'll be complaining about them the entire time.
Well, not only that, but they're conscious. Where I think what we don't see is that some women deal with a lot of assholes, but then there are a lot of women that have to be exposed to assholes, and it's on a consistent basis. And so I think, you know, what that does is that may leave them in a situation where they think, okay, well, I don't want to deal with this jerk. You know, I don't want to be approached by this jerk. And so we as men hardly ever encounter on a day-to-day basis overly zealous, overly confident women in our face. But a woman, you can get, you know, she might get hit on by 10 different dudes just by walking down the street. You know, and some of that comes from false confidence. Now, I said that to say this. I think being confident is probably one of the most important things that anybody should have. Confidence is a cologne that we all should wear. You're speaking to someone who is extremely confident in himself. I've been this way since I was 8 years old. So I'm good on confidence. I can understand why this is. I would think, at least for the women that I know, you got to be confident. Like, if you want a shot, fellas, at any woman, you had better be confident. Like, you should feel, even if you can't, even if it's not possible, but you should feel like you could step to Holly Berry, you know, and talk to her and get her phone number.
I ain't stepping to Holly Berry, man. She can be by herself. She's nuts.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, then there's that, but other than that, yeah, you should exude that confidence. So I can understand why, but understand too, fellas, that confidence is something that it's a quality that women want to see in a man. So be confident. Don't be overconfident, but be confident. And the fifth one that falls under personality traits, generosity. 38% of women said that they want a man who is generous. What's your take on that?
30% is low.
I thought so too.
And it's like, and I feel like as you can tell, my tone of voice, like, it's not the same, like, reaction like I had in the previous ones. Like, I'm shocked, but yet appalled that it's 38%. Because what woman does not like to talk? I have never met a woman that does not like to talk. And with me working at the hospital, I'm around a lot of women, and some of them that I'm cool with that are around my age and even older. It's like, hey, how you doing or whatever. Hey, how'd your date go with such and such and such? So me being generous and actually like taking 5 minutes out of my busy schedule outside of seeing patients to actually listen to what they have to say, it's making them come back for more, like wanting to know, like, hey, what's your opinion? Hey, what do you think about this? Hey, do you think I should wear this? What do you think about, you know? So I feel like that's where a lot of this like really ties in all together, just like with the previous fighter we discussed and even this fighter we discussed, like generosity. We're not saying like be generous to the point where it's like, oh, we're not dating, but hey, here's $100. Not like that type of generous. We're just says, look, I need a shoulder to lean on. Hear me out. It's like there's times where I would call my mom, whatever. I had a bad day at work, whatever. Like, Mom, or I'd call my girlfriend. Her name is Laura. Like, Laura, give me 5 minutes. I don't need you to say things. Give me 5 minutes. Let me vent. And them letting me do that, oh man, it's like one of the best feelings in the world. It's like, man, they didn't even have to say anything. All I have to do is just say what I have to say, because it feels like they're listening to me, even though they may not say anything at the time. They'll ask me later on, okay, so what was the situation about? So it makes me feel like, oh man, they're actually listening. So role reverse, if my girlfriend or mom would do that to me, were to vent to me or whatever, and I'm listening to them, give my feedback. You know what? That shows like, hey, he listened to me, and I know I can trust him to actually have his attention centered on what I have to say, whether it's important or unimportant.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt. I think generosity goes a long way. And as you're younger, you think, when I was younger, I should say, I thought more or less generosity as in money. But as I've gotten older, I understand that generosity is measured not just through what you do financially or anything like that, but your time, your effort, your ears, your eyes, all of that. Women want that from us men. So I think that's very important. Be very generous of your time. If you can't put in the time to get to know a woman, she's automatically going to be turned off. I mean, why should she waste her time with you? How different are you from, and that actually takes me to another point. How different are you from the other men that she's encountered in her life? So
exactly.
if she had to fight for time with Johnny and Chris, and she ain't got to fight for time with you, if you're generous of your time, you're going to go a long way with her. And I think sometimes we as men kind of lose sight of that. And I think that is very, very important. Be generous of your time. So yeah.
And
go ahead.
If you don't mind me
to
to plug this in real quick. Sorry, I feel like I'm interrupting.
No, you're good.
Another thing that you glossed over was like making eye contact. That is one of the biggest things that people, whether it's friends, family, neighbors, relatives, employers, definitely employers, if your body language and your eye contact shows that you're fully engaged in the conversation, sky's the limit for you on how people are going to approach you and how people are going to value your opinion.
Mm-hmm. Oh, definitely. You definitely hit the nail on the head. Body language goes so far, and what you speak of as far as your eye contact, that speaks to being attentive. And if you can't be attentive to a woman,
oh yeah, hold the L, fam.
Yeah, hold the L. I don't know what else to say. I mean, you're gonna have to hold that L for a long time because you're not getting anywhere with her. Yep. I'll tell you what, this is a perfect time for us to take a quick commercial break. So we'll take a break, and on the other side, we'll come back with the other 10 traits that women want in a man. So far, we're 10 in. We got 10 more on the other side, so sit tight. We'll be back in just a second.
You want to hear something funny? Watch this.
Is that iced tea?
Nope, it's lemonade.
Is that iced tea?
Lemonade.
Iced tea?
What's with these people, man? Lemonade. Read the sign. Lemonade. Read it.
Okay.
Delicious.
Iced tea at a lemonade stand? Surprising. What's not surprising? How much money Marin saved by switching to Geico.
It's lemonade, man.
15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
And just like that, we are back. Once again, it's your boy 12 Kyle, the 12 Kyle podcast. And we're talking about the 20 traits that women want in a man. I got my man Keon in the building. And in the first half of the podcast, we went over 10 characteristics. We went over 10 traits. First were 5 character traits: faithfulness, dependability, kindness, moral integrity, and fatherliness. And then we hit 5 personality traits: sense of humor, intelligence, passion, confidence, and generosity. So now let's move on to the next 5, and that will be the practical skills. We touched on it a little bit, so it's actually a perfect segue. Keon, listening. Pay attention. 53% of the women surveyed in the poll of 1,000 women that were surveyed on the polls from Men's Health says that listening comes in at 53%. You talked about it before we went to the break as far as, paying attention as far as with your eyes and listening. Listening, 53%. Am I tripping, or is that number kind of low?
fellas, word of advice, sometimes there's nothing wrong with putting down a remote or an Xbox controller and listening to your woman. There's nothing wrong with it. It goes a very long way.
Right.
It goes a very long way. So, with the 53%, I feel like I can't speak for all the women on there that did the survey because we don't know them.
Right.
But for me, I feel like the part of listening is like I see it as a scenario play in my head where, let's say, me and my girlfriend go to the movies and we don't talk about it. That shows that either I don't care, I didn't listen, I don't care about her opinion. So let's use this as a scenario. Best thing to do after movie, oh man, the movie was really good. Hey, how do you feel about the movie? How did it make you feel? Like, oh, it made me feel this way. Really? Why did it make you feel this way?
Right.
Oh, really? It made me happy. It made me sad. What parts was your climax? What part were your ultimate lows and why? You're listening. Oh, what's your favorite color? Oh, good. You know what? As corny as it sounds, I still have this written down somewhere in somewhere in the basement. Whenever me and my girlfriend first met, I was one of those less confident guys. And however, one of my best friends, he's actually responsible for me dating my girlfriend now. I actually met my girlfriend on online dating. And on each question I asked her in person when we met, like a few weeks after, and even online, you know what I did? As crazy as it sounds, I did this to make sure I wasn't going to screw up. All the things that she told me that she liked, what was her favorite foods, what kind of car she drove, what kind of music she listened to, what her favorite color, I wrote it all down.
Wow.
I was going to make sure I was prepared whenever I met her in person. For real. I swear, because it's going to be like, no, I'm going to prove it to myself that I am worthy. I'm not saying I was a piece of crap.
Right. No, I get your point.
Like I said before, early in the podcast, why women thought I was too nice. I'm like, you know what? Maybe I need to tone it down. It was probably on a 10. Maybe I need to tone it down to like a mid to heavy 7, light 8. And I was like, I'm trying to take it easy. What things am I good at? Oh, I'm good at listening, so I'm gonna start taking down notes. Just so I can exercise. It's like an exercise for me to actually practice my interpersonal communication skills with other people. Just so it's easy to talk to the fellas where it's like, man, this dude such and such, man, just such and such, man, that was whack. How come you can't talk to a female that way?
Right.
Not in that type of tone, but like in a more calming and soothing tone, that makes them more like comfortable to like talk to you and actually
no doubt
spill it out to you,
Exactly. And I think one of the things that listening does is it lets them know that you're in the room. Like you mentioned the video games or the remote control or the cell phone, whatever the case may be, putting that down and listening, it goes a long way. And it obviously, when you start moving about in the world, whether or not you're going to school, whether you're going to work, whatever the case may be, we all get busy. We all have lives. We all have things going on in our life. And I think when you can end the day and come home and get on the phone or people in the younger generation, y'all don't get on the phone. Y'all send text messages. Well, that's another story for another day. Back in my day, we get on the phone and talk. But yeah, listening goes a long way. And I think, to some degree, technology may have, and I've talked about this on previous podcasts, technology may have, done some damage to the communication skills because, and maybe that's why this number is as low as it is because sometimes the communication is via text. So if my communication with my girlfriend is through text, then, how much do I have to listen? I don't have to listen to her at all. I could be playing, like you said, 2K. and texting her, she would know. She's not there with me. So listening, it goes a long way. Listening is obviously one part of communication. If you don't have communication, you don't have a relationship. So simply put, listening is imperative. Practical skill number 2, romancing. You got to be able to romance. Now, I'm not talking about sex, but you actually have to be able to romance a woman. 45% of women says that they like this and they want to be swept off their feet with romance from a man. Keon, where you at on this one?
Man, I'm telling you, everything always stems back to my girlfriend. Like I said, it's just... You know what, babe? If you ever listen to this podcast, I want to thank you for allowing my heart. And don't take it the wrong way, but you helped me get a lot of quote-unquote attention from women in public for things that you told me that you like for a guy to do for you. So with that being said, she never been in a relationship. So I asked her, I was like, what would you like for a guy to do that you never had done like to you before, like physically or emotionally? I never had a guy open my doors for me, like whenever I get in and out of the car door, or even tuck me in like at the chair. Well, while I'm sitting in the chair at a restaurant. Man, ever since I've been doing that, people look at me like, "Oh man, it's hard to see that. Man, you don't see that much nowadays." like I just play cool. I look all goofy, like, but I know, like, on the inside, it's like, you know what? At the end of the day, I'm really doing it for her because this is what that sparks her, So it's kind of like, how you say, like, kind of like in working out, like whenever you work out, your endorphins like kick in or whatever, they start to expand. That's what it is. The endorphins are starting to grow and expand. So with the romancing, I mean, not everybody's going to have, like, the best set of hands. Your hand's going to be calloused or whatever, stuff like that. You're not going to have to clean and shave. You're not going to have, like, you're going to have a hairy chest, hairy legs, stuff like that. I mean, everybody's different. It's just be yourself, be unique. If you're not sure on how to do something, don't be afraid to ask. Like, hey, do you care? Does this bother you if I were to do this or whatever? If I were to get, like, ask for a massage, like, oh, you need a shoulder massage? Tell me, how does this feel, whatever. Like, it's still part of romancing, even though it's bringing pleasure for her as if, like, she's in pain and whatnot. I mean, I still look at it as romancing. You're helping her out physically. It's still part of romancing. I mean, one of those things of romancing is just senses, the touch, smell, just like when you was talking about, like, cologne earlier. I mean, that's a big turn on too.
Oh, no question. It's I think one way we as men get it misconstrued is that we go into dating or relationship thinking that we can romance this woman the same way we did the last woman. You can't do that. No two women can be romanced the same. I think romance, and I'm not really surprised that this number is as low as it is at 45%, is because probably a lot of the women who were surveyed weren't privy to the romance. You know what I'm saying? So they weren't privy to the doors being held open or the chairs being pulled out or the, how was your day question, that type of thing. So that stuff goes a long way. And if you're in a relationship and you're thinking long term in the relationship, then one thing you'll quickly understand is that the little things mean so much and they go so long. And if you're going to have longevity, then you got to do a lot of little things. Anybody can go out and buy a box of, buy a bunch of chocolate and flowers, but it's the little things. And that may or may not be a little thing, but romance, you can't just you can't just start romancing on February 13th. You know what I'm saying? Or the 14th. So yeah, romance goes on.
Birthday.
Yeah.
Or even
birthdays.
birthdays.
Yeah, birthdays. Practical skill number 3: being good in bed. So now we came to the section. Now there's actually no percentage in this, but this is a practical skill that women find a trait that they want in a man. Now obviously it seems pretty obvious that this would be something that they want. But you know, a woman definitely wants to know that a man can take care of her in the sack. What's your take on that, Keon?
Self-explanatory.
Yeah, man, you got to be able to put it down. You got to be able to put it down. And you know, and I'm talking about it.
And please ask what she likes.
Oh, no question. No question.
Some of them like some grandpa strokes.
No question.
Some of them may like to get their head bashing against the wall. It's different.
Hey, man, y'all know if you've been listening to this podcast, you know my motto. We're all freaks. Some just bigger than others. And you know, fellas, you gotta know how and ask questions beforehand, you know, as to what she likes. You know, fellas, she might not be ready for the 60-30. 60 pumps, 30 seconds. She might not want that from you. So you might need to slow the hell down. But yeah, be dope in bed. I think that, like you said, Keon, that's pretty self-explanatory. Practical skill number 4: cooking and cleaning. 23% of women say that, you know, this is very good for them. This is a trait that they're looking for. Where are you at on this one?
I think that's I see the cooking side, that percentage should be a little accurate. The cleaning side, still a little low. If it was separated as like cooking and cleaning separately, I expect like cleaning to be like in the mid to low 60s, honestly.
Okay.
Because I mean, just by like society, like in movies, you know, like, oh, women have like, you know, tons of pillows on the bed, and this bed's made up all the time and everything like that. Their kitchen is clean. Guys go to their studio apartment, man, they have sneakers everywhere, dirty gym socks everywhere, dishes stacked up and whatnot. But just like with what's your man saying, ATL, big boy, cleanliness, naked godliness. That's a big thing with women. Can't go out to and smell like full court basketball.
Right.
So keep it clean. Cooking, yeah, you're just gonna have to practice. That's something you're gonna have to practice that. I know there was times where my mother nor my father never taught me how to cook, and I never actually like cooked a full meal or even cooked my own steak until I was like 22, 23, whenever my girlfriend first started living together.
Okay.
Yeah, like she cooked all the time whenever she was a kid, all the way up to now. And there's times I was like, man, this tastes really good. Like, can you show me how to do this or whatever? Like, whenever we first started living together and when we first moved in, I'm coming home from work. Hey, this is perfect timing. So we're going to practice how to cook this, whatever. And it was funny. She literally taught me how to cook, like, breaded chicken breast from scratch. Starting out, as corny, as lame as that sounds, show me how to do that. Then I progressed to lasagna. And then I progressed to, like, enchiladas and steak and everything like that.
Okay.
You got to start somewhere.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt. I agree totally.
When Smokey say on Friday, you got to crawl before you walk.
Oh, yeah, you have to. And I think that goes a long way, because I think sometimes we get into these, you know, dating situations or relationships, and, you know, men, and it's not good that we do this, but we assume that the woman's going to do the cooking. What if she can't cook? Right. I mean, what are you going to do? So you got to eat. You can't eat out every night. And I say this as someone who, I've been cooking since I was 10 years old. So I can cook, and I can cook well. And I do a lot of cooking. I don't do all the cooking in my house, but I do. When I cook, I throw down. So I think it's, I think that goes a long way. I think the number 23% is probably a little low because, to be honest, at least for the women that I know, they don't expect a man to know how to cook or cook as well as they do. So, and that's just the women that I know, but I grew up around, and I've been, raised by down home Southern black women, and they all could cook. So, they really didn't necessarily need no man that could cook. I mean, if he could cook, that's cool, but they'll run circles around you in the kitchen. So that was just how they were raised. And subsequently they raised kids like that. And subsequently, that's what my brother and I were taught by my mom. So yeah, cooking and cleaning. Now cleaning, hey, I'm not a fan of cleaning to this day, but I do it. In fact, I got to do something tomorrow, but I do it. I don't like it, but I do it.
Yeah.
And then the fifth practical skill, earning potential. Now, women have this listed as a trait that they want to see in a man, his earning potential. So can he go out and render in the money? Can he bring in the dollars? They say, okay, so it's 1 in 5%. So we're talking 20%. I don't know if that's low. What's your take on that, man? Do you think that should, are you surprised where that is as far as being a trait that they want to see in a man, how he can go out and earn a living?
I feel like instead of earning potential, they should have showed it as, they should have just renamed it as responsibility. Okay. Can a guy be responsible? Because I feel like with talent and goal achieving, that shows discipline. Follow through, that's representing being responsible and actually holding yourself accountable. So I feel like 20%. It's hard to say. I really don't have a comment on that one. Okay. Honestly, it's a little strange, but
it is.
It's a little weird.
I can
actually believe that.
I can see how, because, you're going to want to get involved and deal with a man who is bringing some type of income. Now, it doesn't say on here that she wants the man to be the breadwinner as they used to be back in the day, but he has to bring something to the table financially. And I don't think that's, I'm not going to fault a woman for wanting that to be a trait in a man, because, for men, I would think we would want the same thing. Bring something, bring your money to the table too. We both eat together. We'll pool our finances together. So yeah, and then I think part of the other part of that being a trait is that not so much as their earning potential, but the fact that they are going to go out and make a way. I think I can see where women find that attractive and sexy, because one, it shows initiative. Whether or not it's a grind or whatever the case may be, it shows initiative. And you can go a lot further with women in this world if you show them that you have some type of initiative, as opposed to sitting on your ass. Because as my mom used to tell us when we were growing up, no woman wants a lazy man. She used to always say that. No woman wants a lazy man. I mean, it stuck with me and my brother. And so, fellas, keep that to heart. Keep that to heart. And now, our last 5. This should come as no surprise. Physical attributes. And again, these are no particular order. Number 1, sense of style. This is a trait that women want to see in a man. You gotta be sharp. Now, they didn't have a percentage on this, but I'm not surprised that it came on the list. Where are your thoughts on sense of style, Keon?
the sense of style, I feel like if you keep, it's kind of like the wash, rinse, repeat thing. You don't want to keep, you want to evolve.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one of those things where I remember when I was in my early 20s, I was wearing an Aeropostale and Hollister. Then once I got to like 25 up to now, I kind of got tired of it, and I realized, like, you know what, it's not me anymore. So I'm starting to wear Express clothes, and I'm a huge Express shopper now. So with the sense of style, women, they love when a guy dresses up.
Mm-hmm.
So guys, make sure you have those pants and shirts creased. That shows that you, because I feel like the crease is like probably like one of the most important things to have, like with your pants. And with certain pants or jeans and whatnot, not all of them you can go with that. But with the sense of style, it's just you don't want to keep doing the same thing over and over, because it grows tiring, and it just shows your dullness as in your taste. I mean, who always wants to go to a restaurant like, oh, I want to get the burger, No, let me get this. Let me get a sweet potato on the side, you know. Let me get a filet mignon or whatever if you go to cheesecake.
Mm-hmm.
So, sense of style, yes. You definitely want to have something in your arsenal that's gonna be like, that's different. And you know what? Sometimes whenever a woman says that's different, a lot of times that means a good thing.
Okay.
So it's like, oh, that's different. Like, yeah, I know it's different. I got you, didn't I? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Boom.
That just don't get any lipstick on my collar.
Right. Boom. Perfect. That's a perfect answer. I think we all have a sense of style, good or bad. And I think to some degree your sense of style and what you wear, I've always been taught like what you wear says things about you. You know, you give off nonverbal communication based on what you're wearing. You know, and I've always been very cognizant of what I wear, especially as I've gotten older and I have kids. You know, case in point, like if I had to go to my son's school to pick up something or whatever the case may be, depending on how I feel, if I'm just chilling, I might put on some, you know, it's summertime now, I might put on some shorts. But if I'm going to meet with his teachers, you know, I'm wearing a collared shirt, you know, some jeans, maybe hard bottoms. I'm coming looking fresh.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going dressed like I'm going to the club, but I'm gonna come fresh, you know. And if I'm in a suit's always gonna be on point, because I just don't believe in, when I put on a suit on, I want you to look at me, you know, regardless of whether or not you're interested or not. When I put on a suit, because I think I wear suits well, so I want to turn heads, and you know, I do see the heads turning, you know, not like that, but you get my point. But yeah, I think like you said, I've grown into my sense of style. I don't necessarily wear what I wore back when I was in college. You know, nah. Could you catch me in a pair of jeans and Jordans, which is what I wore in college? Depending on the day and depending on where I'm going. If I'm going to the mall, maybe. But I hate malls. But that's beside the point. But I've developed a different kind of sense of style, and it works for me, and it fits for me. And I dress for me. Even being married, I dress for me. And I would never go out with my wife and wear something bummy, and vice versa. But I don't even necessarily dress to impress. She's impressed by what I wear, but I don't necessarily dress for her. I dress for me, because it's about my level of comfort. But I think sense of style is very, very important, fellas. And it goes without saying, but I think I speak for Keon when I say this. Fellas, pull your pants up.
Please. Please do so.
Pull your pants up. Women don't want to see your ass. They don't want to see your drawers. They don't want to see your abs. Not like that. Pull your pants up. Just a
No, some other dudes may want to see it.
Right.
Right.
Right. Right. Number 2, physical attribute, handsome face. There's no percentages on this, but I think it would be like 100%. Women like a handsome face. Wouldn't you agree?
Yep. That's simple way to put it. Yep.
Yeah, I
now,
think
there doesn't want no guy looking like you know how Martin got beat up.
Yeah,
for that boxing match?
We got beat up by Tommy Hearns. I think that's important, man. And handsome is relative. I mean, no, every guy can't look like, I don't know, Denzel. If you deem Denzel to be the heartthrob that you lustfully desire, but you can make it look. You can make whatever look you got. You can make it work for you. You know, face tattoos, probably not. But if you
have a face tattoo, you're getting face tattoos for other dudes. I'm sorry.
Hey man, new dudes, man. That's all that is. That's the best way that I can describe face tattoos. New dudes, because the old dudes ain't doing that. These new dudes out here doing that. I don't understand it.
Wayne got a face tattoo, bro. I want one. Man, that's Wayne.
I don't understand it.
Be yourself.
Yeah, and exactly. I mean, like somebody like Lil Wayne, yeah, he can do it because he's never going to have to, or at least we hope, he's never going to have to work at McDonald's. You might have to. Or you might have to go to some corporate office. So having 6'9" tattooed on your forehead ain't a good look.
And that's why you're on grill.
Oh, man, don't get me started on grills. But yeah, handsome face. If you have facial hair, fellas, keep it nice and trim. Or, you know, kind of wild, but even if it's wild, you gotta, you know, keep it shaped up a little bit. Keep it presentable. That's what I always say. Keep your facial hair presentable. Physical attribute number 3. 15% of women say that this is a trait that they want to see in a man. Height. Keon, how tall are you?
5'9".
Oh shit, you taller than me.
Oh, how tall are you?
I'm 5'7" and 3/4.
That's not how my girlfriend is.
Don't forget the 3/4. Yeah, I'm 5'6". So you're about
my girlfriend's 6 foot, dude.
Oh wow. So she's taller than you.
Yeah.
How does okay, let's stop.
yeah, I know it too. I'm looking right for you right there.
Okay, so how does that, do you get like weird? Because here's the thing. We were always, and I don't know who taught this to us as young boys and young men, that you weren't supposed to get a girl that was taller than you. And it's funny because I was talking to my youngest son just the other day, and he asked me, he said, well, did you ever, he's in middle school. So, you know, he's at a stage where he's still growing, and some of the girls in his class are taller than him. And I explained to him, I was like, look, you're in 6th grade. At the time of this recording, he's in 6th grade. I was like, by the time you get to high school, you'll be taller than those girls. I said, girls generally have a growth spurt before boys do. And so I was explaining this to him, and, you know, he asked me if I dated a girl who was taller than me. And it made me think, like, I had to think about all the girlfriends I had. And I'm like, damn, I think there might have been one girlfriend that I had that was taller than me. So how does that work? How do you get like weird looks, or how does it work given the fact that you're 5'9" and she's 6 feet?
So the first reaction whenever I first met her in person didn't bother me. She was sitting down at a bar actually. Whenever we met, we actually texted each other and told each other that we'll meet up at the specific location. When she stood up from sitting at the bar, so I was kind of taken back a little bit, but it didn't bother me really because I was like, you know what? It's not about that. Just focus on her and get to know her. Forget the height. So when we actually first started dating, and like a few months in, she told me like, hey, I have a bunch of heels at home. I love wearing high heels. So whenever her parents, like whenever we were living at our parents at the time, they invited me to their place to spend the night with them one weekend. So my girlfriend showed me her heels, And then she put them on. She was like, "What do you think?" I was like, "They look good on you, but can you just not wear that out in public right now?" Because it's funny, but here's the thing. Here's the issue. I wasn't confident in that particular department yet.
Mm-hmm.
So this is probably like the first month, probably like the first 6 months in our relationship. So after that 6 months, I was like, you know what? Throw those heels on. Since we're going to date, throw the heels on. And once she threw the heels on, and the way she dressed up, didn't bother me one bit. Because for me, it's just one of those things where it's like, this is what I have, you know? And it's like, it doesn't matter if she's 6 foot, it doesn't matter if she's 4'11". This is what I have, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if I can embrace this moment
Mm-hmm.
if I can just embrace this time with her and not just focus on the shoes, then it's not going, for one, it'll set me up for failure at the end of the night.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So I was like, you know what? Just embrace it and just enjoy it because she's enjoying this more than you are. So there's nothing wrong with that, with someone having more fun than you. However, sometimes you need to let that person have more fun than you. And what women doesn't like to play dress up, you know? They always grew up playing dress up, playing house and everything. So for me, nope, I have no issue dating a female that's taller than me one bit. Not even very shorter than me. Like, I secretly have I'm not going to say which female basketball player it is, but let's just say that she played basketball at Louisville. If I had a chance to, like, if I was single, and if I had a chance to meet her, and I know she's like probably 6'1", 6'2", yep, I would definitely date you. Not because she's a basketball player, not because she has money, whatever. Just I just think she's super attractive.
Okay. Hey, Keon. Height. I think much like what I told my son, your height is also is really how you handle your height. You know, because you can be tall and be awkward. You could be short and be awkward, but you're going to look even more awkward if you're tall because you stand out. But I have, much like my son, when I was talking to him, I was, it's funny because I was telling him, I remember there was like maybe 6th grade. I was like one of the tallest kids in the class. And then everybody started shooting past me. But I'm cool on my height, man. I love my height. I wouldn't want to be one of these 6-footers walking around here.
I wouldn't either. I love my height too.
Exactly. So, and it works for me, you know. But it's never deterred me from talking to a woman who was taller than me. I've just never had a steady girlfriend who was that much taller than me. I've seen it happen. And I actually had one of my college teammates. He had to be like 5'9", and his girl was like 6'3". And so one day I asked him, I was like, yo, Tracy, I was like, hey man, is that awkward? I mean, like, you 5'9" and your girl is 6'3". And Tracy looked at me and he was like, he's mad country, right? He looked at me and he smiled.
I am too.
Well, he's way more country than you. He looked at me, he smiled, and he said, we're all the same height when we lay down.
He's not lying.
He said, we're all the same height when we lay down. I mean, all I could do is laugh. That's all I could do is laugh. And so I just kind of took that and ran with it. But yeah, ladies, height is, tall, dark, and handsome is not necessarily a requirement by most women, but they do want a guy who's got a little height on him. Fourth attribute, physical attribute, muscular build. Only 13% of women say that they want a muscular build as a priority. Where do you stand on that, Keon?
Beauty's in the eye of the beholder. there's a lot of skin. There was a skinny girl I used to work with at my old job. She didn't like guys that had muscle or guys that were skinny. She actually liked fat dudes. I was like, you? She's like, you like fat dudes? Yeah, I love fat dudes. I'm like, hey, that's your thing. Hey, there's nothing wrong with it. You do you. I don't have a preference really. Like my girlfriend, she's actually plus size, but the thing is though is that the weight that she holds, my girlfriend she kind of has like a powerlifter look to her, but because her dad's muscular build, she kind of resembles his muscular build in a way. But the thing is though is that if I were to tell you her weight, you wouldn't guess it because she was raising her height.
Well, yeah, don't tell her weight because I don't want you to get beat up.
I know better. I'm not saying anything. I'm sure
there's
some
two things
clown
you can't talk about: a woman's weight and her height.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, her weight and her age. Yeah, weight and her age. Oh,
yeah,
man.
I'm sure some clown probably listening to it is like, oh man, Keon probably dates some tall fat chick, dude. Shut up. You get yours. I got mine.
Right. There it is. Muscular build, I think, like you said, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. I think there was a time where women, at least the women that I know, wanted that, 6'2", chiseled like Adonis statue type of guy. But I think for the most part, the women that I know, they want men who are physically active. And as long as you're physically active, I think they can figure out the rest. Like, if you got a little gut, they might can work with that. But, now if you sloppy, looking like Jabba the Hutt, no, they probably can't, they probably can't work with that. But I think, that also speaks to, your physical health and how you treat yourself and how you view yourself too. If a woman can look at you and tell that you're not necessarily not in good physical condition, but if she thinks that you're not taking care of yourself physically, then she may be less apt to talk to you. But yeah, man, 13% of women say muscular build comes in on their list of characteristics traits that they want in a man. And the last physical attribute I just kind of touched on, fitness. 12% of women say that they want men who are involved in fitness. What about you? How much of a role do you think that's played? Maybe not so much even in your relationship now, or in previous relationships. Were you involved with girls who wanted you to be, involved in some type of fitness activity?
No, not really.
Okay.
It was never really a priority for girls I talked to previously, and not even one I talk to now. It was just one of those things where I've always played sports whenever I was a kid, except like for a few years, just for personal preference. I've actually, one of my hobbies is basically weightlifting. Like, I'm a huge fan of bodybuilding, and I played basketball when I was in high school and like 1 year of soccer. And my girlfriend now, she did gymnastics, and she never lifted a weight, really, nothing serious whenever she started dating me. But when she started dating me, she came to the gym with me one day. She said, hey, I want to work out with you. All right. Ever since then, I kind of put a bug. I kind of put that bug in her, where she likes fitness too. So, not only with that fitness, what that helps is that just being active, even if it's a few days out of the week, it does so much for your body that it's almost undescribable. Like, there's plenty of statistics out there where, doing this for a certain amount of time, this X amount of days, men's testosterone went up 7%, which is true. However, that just, like, it's just funny to me, like, whenever I see the article where it says muscular build, then the segue to fitness, I mean, like I said, it ties them together. Being active is going to help give you that ability to actually strive to be healthy. So the way that I look at health is like, you want to look at it as inside out. as long as your organs, your heart, lungs, all your main organs in your upper extremities, and it's everywhere, if they're functioning properly, the outside will take care of itself. However, just like with diet and the specific and whatnot, even like with your integumentary system, your nails, hair, and skin, that even aspect of health is very important as well. There's plenty of diabetics out here that has like scaly skin and whatnot from like cellulitis and everything and stuff like that. So that's just make sure you're getting proper nutrition, vitamins and minerals in. And even like with people, like guys like in their mid-40s and their 50s and whatnot, nothing wrong with taking a test booster. There's nothing wrong with taking horny goat wheat. Those what these things are there for. So you can actually be active and actually help yourself to prevent injury and to prevent illnesses. Because a lot of times, a lot of the population I've seen in the hospital, a lot of them have illnesses, but the thing is, though, is that when they get home, they have a sedentary lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where the fast food comes in.
Yep, that makes a huge difference.
Yeah, it makes a huge difference. Like, if you take a can of tuna and brown rice versus a McChicken sandwich from McDonald's, dude, that tuna and brown rice is going to make you feel a million times better than that McChicken sandwich at McDonald's.
Mm-hmm.
And once you see that, and once a female sees that you're actually serious about your health and just even your mind state, oh man, she's going to be attracted to that too, because she's going to see that, oh man, he really values and appreciates his well-being. That's going to, it's like a magnet. She's going to be attracted to that. Then she's going to want to learn about it too. Next thing you know, you both have a hobby that you both like.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to lead to other things.
Oh, definitely. I think that's one way for couples to build when you're physically participating in some type of fitness activity, whether or not you're doing it together or just doing it in general. It relieves stress. It you feel better. No, do you always want to go to the gym? No, but like me, I go at least 3 times a week. Do I feel like going? No. But if I can get in the car, I'm good. Once I get in the car, I'm there. Then once I get there, I'm going to put in the work. But my wife and I, we both work out, several times a week, despite juggling, family life, our outside interests, and everything else like that. And people always ask, well, when do you have time? You just have to make time. Instead of and it could be something as simple as you watching the game, commercial comes on. Hey, see how many push-ups you can do until the game comes back on from commercial. I've done that. And it's not something that, you don't necessarily have to have a gym membership to do, but that could be a little test that you have for yourself. If you do 10 push-ups every time there's a commercial, do you know how many push-ups you'll finish in between, watching your favorite game, whatever game you're watching on TV? It's little things like that. And I think fitness, again, like you said, just from the health aspect, it puts you in a better situation as you're getting older, which, like for me at the time of this recording, I'm 45. So it's bugged out for me to see, people my age or people, not much older than me dying from heart issues. I'm like, dog, how do you have heart problems at 47 and 50? And, God willing, cats like you, Keon, you'll get to this point, and you don't want to put yourself in situations where, you can't be mobile. Like you said, having a sedentary lifestyle isn't good. So I recommend that everybody do some type of physical activity. No, everybody can't go, play 10 games of basketball. Everybody can't go swimming every day or whatever the case may be. But there's some things that you can do. You just have to find you have to find whatever lane it is that fits best for you and then take that. So yeah, there you have it. 20 traits that women want in a man. There are 5 characteristic traits. Faithfulness, dependability, kindness, moral integrity, fatherliness. And then there's 5 personality traits: sense of humor, intelligence. Did we talk about intelligence? Yeah, we did talk about it. No, did we? Did we talk about it?
We might have glossed over it like briefly, but I don't remember. I don't think we did.
So before we, intelligence came in at number 2 on the personality traits. I think we missed that, but yeah, that came in at 55%. Then there was passion, confidence, and generosity. And then 5 practical skills: listening, romancing, being good in bed, putting it down, cooking and cleaning, earning potential, and then the 5 physical attributes: sense of style, handsome face, height, muscular build, and fitness. Before we get out of here, man, Keon, man, I gotta definitely thank you for coming through on the podcast, man. For the folks that are listening, man, tell people where they can hit you up at.
All right, my name is Keon Alexander. So on Twitter, honestly, I'm still new to Twitter. The only reason I got it because one of my instructors in school was like, "Hey, I put some of the test questions and answers on Twitter, so make sure you follow me." I'm like, "Shit, now I gotta make one." So I know, right? So my Twitter is k.090, and I'm on Facebook as well. And my Instagram is Mr.Alexander90.
Okay.
And I appreciate you, Carl, for inviting me on your podcast. First time for everything, so hopefully this leads to more conversations in the future, and hopefully I can be fathered into the dead end hip hop, dead end sports, family like that.
Oh, no doubt. You know, we were a big family, man. I definitely want to thank you for coming on.
I've been following you guys since like 2011, man. So
right.
it was one of those things where it's like, man,
far? Wow.
Yeah, I started watching whenever. I think the first episode I watched was whenever that Tyler the Creator Goblin review came out.
Okay.
Because there was like 2 or 3 videos with that where Rod and Ken were kind of debating about that album.
Okay.
And then once Dead in Sports came out, I was like, "Yep." That's when I first got a glimpse of you. That's what I called Win the View. Was the first video.
Yeah, man. We had a lot of fun, man. That was how was that? I think that was 2014. I think when we started Dead in Sports. Or is these no?
Because it was when LeBron was still in Miami.
Yeah. LeBron had just announced that he was going to Miami. That was when we started Dead End Sports, man. So so we go way back, man. So yeah, I definitely appreciate you coming through. Like I said, early birthday shout out to you. Enjoy your birthday for real. And you guys listening, you know how to find me. Obviously, you've been listening this long, so no need for me to put my stuff out there. Feel free to drop a comment. You know where to hit me up at. You know where the podcast is. So as always, thank you for listening, downloading, and subscribing to the latest edition of the 12 Kyle podcast. For my man Keon, I'm your boy 12 Kyle. We'll catch you guys next time. 5 Gs. Boom.